Greetings all, Frog here. Let's play some Factorio. Now, if you haven't watched the What is Factorio video yet, definitely check it out. I'm not going to be talking a lot about what this game is, except to say that I'm really excited about it. It's probably one of my favorite games to come out recently. It is an alpha. You can get it at Factorio.com, and I highly recommend it if you like any sort of city building or base defense type games. But let's get right into it. We'll go over some of these categories and features if you watch the What Is, but we're just going to jump right in. So with this map generator, if you haven't seen this yet before, the terrain segmentation tells you how many different types of terrains and how varied and far apart they will be. Now, I don't particularly care one way or the other. I think it creates a very interesting world just leaving it at normal. Most of the stuff I'm going to just leave at normal. The frequency of these items is how many of each individual field there are. So iron ore fields, copper ore fields, stone, coal, crude oil, and so on. The size is how big each of those fields tend to be. And then the richness is how much material there is in each of those fields, regardless of the size. So if you want to make this game relatively easy, you crank up the frequency of the ores, you crank up their sizes, you crank up their richness, and you have a lot of materials. You want to make the game hard, you crank them down to low. Low, very low, low, and all the way across. Now, enemy bases works a little bit differently. With the enemy bases, the frequency is the same. It's how many different enemy bases there are, or biters as they are called in this game. The size is the same, how big each base is when it appears. The richness, that has to do with how much enemy alien artifacts are left over. The candy floss, or the cotton candy, or the little mints, that after dinner mints, what have you. And I personally don't like to play base defense games as much as I like to play simulators and that type. So I crank this down to low. I don't go down to very low because I think that's making it a little too easy. And I will keep it the size at medium, and I will bump up the richness to good to kind of compensate for the fact that there won't be as many bases, but the bases that there are will have more of the candied floss or the alien artifacts in them. This being the first video I'm going to do for YouTube, I'm going to make a quite contentious decision. I think I will play in peaceful mode. That's just to give us a good head start. I can talk a little bit more about the game, and frankly, I just don't like the biters. Like I said, I don't like playing base defense games. My days of StarCraft are long over. I did play for a very long time, actually, a little more than I care to admit. But that's done. So we will have to deal with them. I'm not going to install. There are some mods that get rid of the biters completely, and you actually just mine the alien ore that you need for what to do, because you will still need it to produce things at the end. But I'm not going to do that. That's not going to happen. Instead, I'm going to have them, but they're not going to bother me until I bother them. So at some point, they will aggro, but not at the beginning. So, of course, you can change the width or the height if you want to play with a different amount. I like an infinitely generated world, personally, so I play with it infinite. In multiplayer, I might play with a defined setting, only because the multiplayer settings are still... they're still working the kinks out, and if you have a map that's too big with too much on it, then the synchronization is a nightmare. The map seed, you could put in a map seed if somebody gives it to you. Same thing with the map exchange. We're not changing, we're not playing with anybody, we're just going to go. So here we go, we're generating the world. It takes about a minute. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. Here we are. So this is Factorio Free Pay. There is a task. Your whole point is to create up to the missile defense system to land war people onto the planet. That's not really, again, my goal. My goal here, frankly, to play this game is I really love trains. I love factory building. I love trains. I think it's a fantastic thing, and that's what we're going to do. Okay. So moving around, you use the WASD. So here I am running around the world, and then you use your arrow to interact. Right click to mine, left click to interact in different ways. It's much like some other games that may be out there that we are not going to talk about. So this isn't a review of what I think of the game, because it's amazing. I really like it. If you want to hear more thoughts about it, well, just keep listening to this Let's Play, and I'm going to talk quite a bit about the game. But go ahead and check out that What Is. So here we go. This is as far out as I can see right now. Hit the M for the map. That's it. All right. In order to see more, we have to scan for it, either by ourselves or through other things. And this wind is really loud, so actually I'm going to nip into the options real quick. Full professional. Environment sounds, we're just going to scale that back, because that is really loud. And I'm not sure I can compensate for just that inside of my audio editing software. Okay, that's better. Walking is loud, but that I can deal with. Okay, so the first things I do when I look around, I was talking about scanning. So I've got the map. In order to scan more of the map, I have to walk around more, or I have to set up different scanning stations, which I will do eventually, but for now, it's just me. The nice thing about the map, you can kind of look around. It will get bigger, but for now, we're just here. We do have the small little bit on the right-hand side that gives me more of what's going on, and this is actually what's underneath the cursor, underneath the map, so it ignores the map. So like if I hover over here, you see I'm hovering over water on the map. Well, it's not telling me. It's telling me about the dark green thin tree that's underneath it. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around just to see what we have. Oh, and this start's actually pretty nice. It's not great. These two deposits aren't going to last us forever, but it is a nice start. So iron and copper are the two main resources used in the game. The iron is going to go into tools and various things, and wire is when we start getting into electronics. So let's see here. It's a good open space. The nice thing about that is I won't have to harvest all the trees before we begin. These little bushes and stuff, I can just build right over them. I don't have to worry about that. So here we go. This is the last resource I was looking for. I hadn't seen any, and that's stone. So there is some stone in here. It's a decent size. And then, we've got some oil fields up here too with some more iron. I can see more oil coming into focus. That's pretty good. So this is going to be an okay place to start. I do apologize in the early game. Sometimes, as you can notice, it gets really hard to see. There is a day-night cycle in the game, and at night, I can see this just fine. When you record on the video, it gets really dark. Now, eventually, I will research electronics and lights. That will be one of the first things I do is optics, so that way I could start plunking lights everywhere, and you'll be able to see. Until that point, just when it gets dark, I apologize. It will be tough. So what I'm going to do is, while it's dark, I'm going to come up into the map. Okay, I can zoom in and out of the map using the scroll wheel just like I can when I'm outside of the map. I'm going to talk about some of the features. So this yellow dot is me, and I'm standing right on top of the copper mine. All right, I've got some coal here, and here, which is good. That's how we get into the beginning game. The coal is what's going to supply our power. We use steam generation, and that will help us move along through the game. I've got a small iron deposit here, a very large iron deposit here, which is going to be excellent. A tiny bit of stone down there too, actually, so I don't have to go way up there at the beginning. There's a little stone there too, but I will if I have to. So you can see, even though the settings are in medium, there's still a fair bit of randomness involved with how it decides to start out. So here I've got some more oil. Oil is purple on the dots. There's more oil up here. I'd have to scroll up to see it. That's where I was. Okay, so I got oil and a little more coal. This is my only copper, though, so this is concerning. In the beginning game, this will be fine. You don't need a lot of copper at the beginning, but you will eventually need a bunch more copper. So I think I'm going to have to go around this lake, just kind of do a quick little rotate straight through here and come back, and then we're going to start. I'm going to do all this on camera just at the beginning, and it's still dark. I can never remember if when you have the map open, I think the game still moves. In fact, I know the game still moves because I've seen trains. Yep, I did. I waited just long enough. It's starting to become light again, so the day-night cycle is completing. I've got a bit of water. I'm trying to find my way through these trees. I'll cut them down if I have to, but I'm going to try and avoid it. One of my biggest complaints about the game is that the beginning of the game is pretty much very samey. You have to scout around, see what your resources look like, and each set of resources is different. But what you have to do once you're done scouting is fairly similar. This is more water than I expected. Alright, I don't want to go too far, because now we're... Oh, that's copper. So you can see, even though this is medium, that's a medium, and that's a medium. So it's not each one will be exactly medium. It's that they will generate in terms of a medium pattern. Okay, there's the first red. So the red are the biters. Now I can go right up to them and say hi. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Nice to see you. Just so you know, I'm going to be taking over your planet. I hope you're okay with that. Don't mind me. And they're perfectly fine. If I were to shoot one of them with the gun I'm carrying, it would not be perfectly fine. Then they, and indeed every other biter base on the map, as I understand it, would aggro. Now, they're not going to come finding me, but if I went after them, they would come after me. So this is going to be great later in the game when I'm ready to deal with biters. I don't want to deal with biters right now, but it's good to know I have all of that copper, that juicy, juicy copper waiting for me. And if I set up my main base over here, closer to where I'm walking into, then I might be able to train into that, which would be nice. So I'm not going to try and go all the way around that water. This is bigger than I expected. God willing, it won't be as big as the lake in Bentham's Rail World. If you haven't checked that out, definitely go check out Bentham. He's a great Factorio player. He's really entertaining. He does play at triple speed. Well, he doesn't play at triple speed, but he releases his videos at triple speed. Something that I've played around with, but I think I'm going to keep going at the normal pace. Just for me, it's easier to comment as I'm doing rather than try and remember after I've done. All right, well, we're halfway through the video of what I'd like to do, and we haven't done anything yet, so I think that's enough exploration. I definitely am going to explore more to the south. I think I'll do that off camera. This is a perfectly good place to start. I do have just a little bit of stone right over here. I have plenty of coal, plenty of iron and copper to start off with. I've got even a little bit of iron over there. So we're going to start. So what do we do? Okay, if you haven't played this yet, oh, and I should say, check out Bentham. That's not the name of his channel, though. You want to check out Mangled Pork. That's the name of his channel. He's thinking of moving it to Bentham Plays. He goes by Bentham. The channel's Mangled Pork. It's really cool. Check it out. All right, so the first things that we need to do, we need to set up some automation because, yeah, I can go piece by piece by piece. And you can see how long this takes. Now, those of you who played are yelling at me, I haven't made a tool. Yeah, I know that. I was just demonstrating. That's how long it takes if I have no tool at all. So I want to craft a tool. All right, this is like that other crafting style game. And I can bring up my menu. All right, this tells me everything I can craft. There's my inventory. I've got 5 chunks of wall wood, which I just did right now, and also 8 iron plates. So if I want to create something useful, I could do one of these tools. I've got logistics, production, intermediate products, and combat. So combat, we're not going to be using a lot of at the beginning, but this is where those radar units I was talking about do exist. So we might build a few of those just to help scan things out, get a sort of view of our area, but it's not an immediate concern. Some intermediate products, these are things like actual wood. These would be wood planks. You take the raw wood, turns into wood planks. You can see it takes a half a second to create 2 wood out of 1 raw wood. And the same things here. Now, I can't make these myself. Iron plates, copper plates, and stone bricks. You can see it's made in this material here, and I can't move the mouse, but you can go down and it shows you the 3 types of things. Those are all furnaces. We have basic stone furnaces, steel furnaces, and electric furnaces. Those are the 3 furnaces in the base game. I should say, that I am playing with no mods. So this is just straight up Factorio. It's released 0.11.21. So there's some really good things. This is basically the last stable candidate before they released 0.12. So this is pretty much as good as it gets for the game as it is. All right, so we'll talk about all those as we need them. What I care about right now is production. I need some iron axes, and I'm going to go ahead and just make 1 for now. You click on it, you craft it, boom. You notice there were some things that it needed. It needed iron sticks, it needs 2 of them. It crafted those in the interim, so I don't have to click on iron stick and then click on the iron axe. It does it all automatically, which is nice. Then if you look at the bottom, it says total raw time. It's going to take 1 second, and it's going to take 4 iron plates. So I'm down to 4 iron plates for my 8. It does do some damage, so I can actually use it to attack the biters. I'm not going to do that because that is really not necessary, but it also comes into damaging the products, so the trees and things. So I've said that. Remember how long it took to do that tree. Now here's how long it takes. Much faster. And when I upgrade to the steel pickaxe, it'll be even better. All right, so I do need some wood. This is going to help us out with a couple of things. This is a fuel source at the beginning. It also is used for telephone poles, which is how we get our wiring. I mean, they're not really telephone poles. There's no telephony on the planet, but there is power. So that's our power poles. And I'm going to need some stone. I need 5 stone to start. So if it's red, right, I'm too far away. I can't harvest it. But if I'm close, I just right click on it, and there's my stone. So I see stone +1. I'm up to 2, 3, 4. I'm actually going to mine 10 because it'll help me out. And since it's getting dark, you don't really need to see what I'm doing to know that I'm mining stone. There it is. So now I have my 10 stone. All right, I'm going to come back over to the copper. Now, this is my quick hotbar. All right, I've got a burner mining drill, and I've got a stone furnace here waiting for me to do what I need to do. And what I'm going to do is start getting some coal, because as much as I like wood, it's not as good of a resource when it comes to providing power for everything that needs power. So we're going to start here. I'm going to put down a burner miner, and I am going to harvest some. Now you see the arrow there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So the arrow tells me which direction this is going to output, and I can rotate in many different ways. I'm going to have it output here, and I'm going to just build a little chest. So just starting with 1, I could push 1 to get my hotbar, and then I know my drill is here, and now it's going to output. That arrow goes away when I hover off. That's annoying. So if I hit the Alt key, then it shows me all of the details that I need in order to plan appropriately. So it's not moving. So I need to kickstart it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my inventory. Excuse me. I'm going to open this by left-clicking it. Go into my inventory, and I'm going to put in just 1 piece of wood to get things started. So now, when it runs out of fuel, it's going to put some of the coal that it's collected into itself. Oh, I'm sorry, it won't do that automatically. I have to do that, so I'm going to come by, take some of the ore out of the box, and I'm going to put it in, and now it's going to run itself. Eventually, I'll have 2 of these feeding into each other, and that's what automates the production. So, I need another burner miner. That's under production. What do I need for burner miner? I need some gear wheels. It means I need more iron, and I need more iron plate. So what I'm going to do is come over to my iron, which I'm going to use the top part first. Zoom out a little bit so I can see better where I'm going, because I have already gotten lost. And I'm going to manually just mine some iron ore for right now, just to get up. I needed 3 gear wheels, which means I need 6 iron plate. So I'm going to get some more iron ore. Alright, I'm going to set up a stone furnace. Stone furnace needs 2 things. It needs an input, and it needs some material to burn. So now we're going to smelt iron plates out of iron ore, and I get 1-to-1 ratio. So this is basically just enough for me to smelt 6 iron plates. I'm going to take half of this back, right-clicking on it. That gets me half. Alright. When I want to collect these iron plates, I can just come over, Control-click on it. It gives me the iron plates. It's got 4, and I'm up to 8. So in order to do this, I need the stone furnace and some more plates. So as soon as this is done giving me the plate I need, which is right there, I'm going to deconstruct it, and I've got everything that I need for a burner miner. So I'm going to create one of these burner miners, and then I'm going to also create another stone furnace. So it used the stone furnace I already had to create the burner miner. So here I go placing that, and I'm going to feed it directly into my stone furnace. So now I can start this going with just a little bit of wood, or in this case, because I've got my miner here giving me some coal, which I'm going to move so it's closer to where I need to be. I can use the coal from this, and here I'm going to jump start it with about half, and I'm going to come up to here, and I'm going to get these bad boys going into each other as well. So I'm going to come into here, I'm going to do half, bring half back, and then put the coal into there. Alright, so now I'm going. I've got a little coal production down south, I've got a little iron production here, and as long as this thing has enough coal inside of it, it'll turn all the iron ore that it melts, that it mines, into the smelter, which then will smelt all the iron I could possibly need. So I already have 5 iron plate, and I don't have to do anything. This game is all about automation. That is our goal. Okay, now that walking by all of these trees is kind of annoying, so I'm going to cut them all down. Now, one of the things to be aware of, you can see the clouds here. Both of these things are producing pollution. So if I look on the mini-map, there's a little square of pollution here. It's actually more of a rectangle. And if I look on the main map, I can see it here. This is what is polluting. Biters don't like pollution. If I had them set to not peaceful, they would start bugging me almost immediately. Alright, so I'm just going to keep putting more of these materials in. The beginning part of this game is unfortunately a little bit running around. But as I said, the goal is to automate, and once we get there, then much of this will take care of itself. Alright, so I'm going to do one more thing here before we're done, and that is I'm going to set up that loop that I had talked about. So in order to get this done, I need a stone furnace, and I need some more iron gear wheels and iron plates. So if I go into intermediate, I can see each gear wheel needs 2 iron plate. So when this here tells me that I need those 3 gear wheels at the top, I can look at the bottom. I see it says 9 iron plate total. All right, well, that 9 iron plate means I need the 3 iron plate that are iron plate at the bottom, plus then the 6 iron plate up the top, and also 5 stone for the furnace part of it. So once I harvest this plate, I now have 33 plate. That's more than enough. I can build this burner miner. And I'm burning this one right now because I want to automate my coal. I don't want to have to keep coming to the box and worry about this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to pick up the box. And then I'm going to place another burner miner facing it. So now the coal from here will feed into here, and the coal from here will feed into here. But it mines at a faster rate than it uses it up. All right, so there wasn't a lot going on in this first episode. This is all we've got so far. We just scouted around a little bit. This is what our map looks like. We know this region over here. We've got these biters up here as our little friends. There's a little bit of a desert. We've got a great copper deposit for the mid-game, and then a bunch of other smaller deposits around. So this is where we're going to start. This will be our home base right here. A very humble beginning, but much from which we can grow. So I just want to say that's all for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Click the like button if you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing to stay updated. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.